Please note that the following story contains information which may be disturbing to some viewers. 3 suspected online sexual predators have been arrested in Gauteng in the past week. The arrest happened in an operation between local police at the Serial and Electronic Crime Investigations Unit and the United States Department of Homeland Security. The suspects are believed to be involved in the possession, distribution, manufacturing, the accessing and downloading of child pornography. Let's find out more about this case from police spokesperson Athlenda Mathe. Good afternoon, Athlenda. Welcome to Today. What a disturbing story indeed. Tell us more details about these 3 suspects of the online sexual predators.
Well, a very good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. So in 2017, as the SAPS, we established the Serial and Electronic Investigations Unit, where this unit solely focuses on tracing serial rapists and serial offenders that are involved in the online sexual abuse and exploitation of children. So we can confirm that the SAPS has this capacity in various provinces, where our investigators are focusing on a daily basis in tracing these online child sexual predators. So through this team's work, we are connected to an international tip-off line that on a daily basis alerts our members to users that are involved in searching, sharing child pornography, and so on. So in the past year, they have identified in South Africa alone 130,000 users in the country. And stemming from that, we then identified, together with the USA Department of Homeland Security, 27 sexual predators in the country. And as you've rightly indicated, we have arrested the first 3. The first suspect was traced to Springs in Gauteng. Upon arrival, our forensic team found in his devices pictures, videos of him performing sexual acts on children, as well as videos of pornography of these particular children. So in that particular operation, we were able to identify 3 children that were involved and that were made to perform sexual acts on this elderly man. This man then led us to his friend in the Benoni area. He too was found with hundreds of photos and videos containing child pornography. I can confirm to you that as well, the 3rd suspect was then arrested in Krugersdorp. Tomorrow, I can confirm as well that we are tracing a suspect that has been identified to be in KZN. So this is a culmination of months of investigation through our Serial and Electronic Crime Investigations Unit, which falls under our Family Violence, Child Protection and Sexual Investigations component within the SAPS.
Now, Athlenda, I just want to double-click on a few things you've said in your answer there. Firstly, you mentioned there were 3 children that you identified in the matter of the Springs suspect. Are those children safe as we speak to you now?
So we are busy with the tracing operations to trace these kids. Like I've indicated, we have managed to identify them through the videos and the photos that are in our possession. But also what is important, Braden, to mention is to highlight the fact that we have noted that these ring of sexual predators target children that are from broken families. So how they would conduct their operations is that they would target these children, lure them, befriend them, act like father figures and uncle figures to them. Once they are close with these children and they have established a relationship with them, they then go on to, they start touching them by starting with the legs, the shoulders, and then they then progress to the sexual acts. And by this time, the children are then petrified. They are scared to talk about it and to tell someone they trust about these activities, because quite often these predators tell the children, do not tell elders, do not tell anyone. So they buy these children, obviously help them with their homeworks, buy them what these kids like and so on, just to lure them and to gain their trust. But what we also want to highlight as the SAPS is for parents to really monitor their children's devices. I think it's quite important on a daily basis. Really monitor the types of chats that your children are involved in, who they are chatting to, and on a daily basis, so that we prevent such activities and more children from falling victim to these types of crimes. So also the signs that parents can look out for. I think kids, we have noticed that the kids that are involved in this type of activities become very withdrawn, become very angry. Their marks start dropping at school academically and so on. So these are some of the signs that we're saying as the SAPS, do look out for these signs. Talk to your children about the dangers of online platforms and so on.
Okay, I don't know how much more you can share with us for our viewers, just to empower the parents, as you've just mentioned them, what to be aware of. You said the elderly gentleman in Springs. Who are these suspects? What more can you tell us about them? You mentioned Springs, you mentioned Benoni, and you mentioned Krugersdorp in the West Rand. For example, are they all South African nationals?
Okay, so the first suspect that we have arrested as the SAPS is an elderly man. He's over 60 years old. He is a British citizen. He was also found to be illegal in the country. The second suspect is South African. He was arrested in the Benoni area. And the third was in Krugersdorp, and he's also South African. Due to the sensitivity of this case and the fact that I would have indicated that we have identified 27 of them in the country, we've only managed to arrest 3. Another one is being arrested. We have a takedown tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal, and we are still tracing others. We wouldn't want to share more information on them, but safe to say is that we have identified them, we have identified the children involved. But what is also, I think, interesting in the first particular case, and which quite came as a shock to us, is that the first suspect, the British citizen, was also over and above the child pornography and forcing children to perform sexual acts. He was also found to have had sexual intercourse with a dog on a regular basis through the footage that we have, that we are in possession of. So over and above the charges of distributing, of sharing, accessing child pornography, he is also facing a charge of bestiality, which is obviously performing sexual acts with animals. So we are really pleading with parents out there to monitor their children's devices, and if possible, they must install parental software programs to ensure that these type of softwares, they block such content, their children from accessing such content on the internet.
Yeah, because you are cooperating as the SAPS's Serial and Electronic Crime Investigations Unit, the new unit which you said was established only in 2017. You are cooperating with other agencies, like in this case, the United States Department of Homeland Security. This ring of 27, 3 of whom are now behind bars, 1 of whom you are said to be arresting tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal, is it part of a global ring of child pornography? Are you able to tell us that?
So absolutely, this is an international investigation between the SAPS and the USA Department of Homeland and Security. But what is also important, Braden, to highlight is that we've had a number of successes on South African soil. Of late, we saw the conviction of the assistant polo coach that was attached to Parktown Boys High, where he was sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for sexually assaulting learners at that particular school. But what we also have achieved as the SAPS earlier this year in October, I think late October, we saw the conviction of Mario Giusto. He is a man that was based in the Free State. He was found guilty on more than 1,000 charges relating to child pornography, and he was sentenced to 6,500 years imprisonment. So that just goes to show that there's a lot of work that these teams are doing throughout the 9 provinces. We also had a recent conviction of a 61-year-old man who was convicted to 16 years imprisonment, also in the Free State. So there is a lot of work, but what is lacking out there is the education on child pornography. And I think it's quite important that parents shouldn't shy away from having these difficult conversations with their children, so that collectively we can ensure that more kids are prevented from being involved in such rings and so on. Because what they do, these sexual predators, they target children on online platforms, on social media platforms, and that is why we are saying that parents really need to step up and monitor their children's devices.
Brigadier Slenda Mathe, thank you very much for this disturbing story, but it's a good story, a new story rather, in the sense that you've arrested these 3 suspects. And we did warn you at the start of this interview that it contains information which may be disturbing to some viewers. If you've just joined us, 3 suspects are now behind bars, arrested here in Gauteng, allegedly involved in online sexual activities and child pornography. And arrested. One is an illegal British citizen, who was in the country illegally, and he was also found to have committed an act or acts of bestiality. And another suspect arrested in Benoni, and the third one in Krugersdorp in the West Rand. A 4th suspect is going to be taken down, according to Brigadier Mathe, tomorrow somewhere in KwaZulu-Natal. There's a ring of 27 such sexual predators in the country, and the police, in collaboration with the USA Department of Homeland Security, are after them.